Hi there, my name is Jamie Devine. Welcome to I Am Divinity.
Here at I Am Divinity, what we do is we help you unlock your inner power.
So that's what we're doing. Don told me his vision of raising humanity's consciousness to the level of 700 on the scale, enlightenment.
That's power.
Imagine how healthy our communities will be. They're so pure and so powerful.
Hi everyone, exciting topic today, talking about the traits, the different characteristic traits of the ego and divinity, so you can really tell them apart. Yeah, and they're all going on in your head. Yeah, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? That they're all happening. And yeah, and you're the creator. You are the creator of this. Isn't that amazing? You don't have to have anybody changing this or doing that. So let's talk about those two systems. The ego energy, how it's so heavy, how it's so dark, how it's so limiting, how it's so negative, how it's so small and insignificant. As loaded with all those belief systems. Absolutely loaded with those belief systems of who you thought you were growing up. Yeah, that is the ego. That is absolutely the ego. And I grew up in that. Like seriously. It was nonstop, actually. Even the strong Irish Catholic religion was loaded with it. It was just everywhere. Yeah, just everywhere. And everybody thought they were doing so great. Everybody going to church on Sunday and kneeling on the boards, the kneeling boards, and getting your communion and yeah, all of those things, all of those things that would, you would think, because there's a lot of religions out there, I'm telling you, that are pretty dark. Yeah, pretty dark. So how can you tell the difference between the inner voice, the guidance, the direction of your divinity, and the same with the ego? Like, how can you do that? Like, how do they separate? What do they sound like? And I just had a call this morning, and the guy was on he's on the on-demand program, so there was something that he couldn't figure out on his own, and he reached out to me, and I got on the call, and that was the thing. He wasn't able to tell the difference between the chatter of the ego and the divine guidance of the divinity. Yeah, there is a major difference for sure. And once again, there, like on the screen, there's this map of consciousness, as you can see, and you can tell like what the difference between shame at 20 and enlightenment 700 to 1,000. That's a pretty large chunk of change difference. So how can you tell the difference? How can you tell it's the ego trying to get you out of your light or trying to guide you down a path? that is harmful. Yeah. Or it's your divinity and it's guiding you. Whisper, quiet. Well, let's talk about a few of those. What they sound like. Okay? And the chart is up here, the consciousness chart. And there's words that describe the difference. Like, for example, I never heard of the word ineffable before. Never heard of it. And until I saw this consciousness chart of Dr. Hawkins. And yeah, but if you go now down to the bottom of that chart, and it's that guilt, shame, apathy, grief, sadness, and loss, and all those energies, humiliation and blame and miserable and despising. Like, yes, that's the words. That's the words of the ego. Then there's the sounds. Got this wacky, kinky, wholehearted, crippling, ripping you apart, telling you you're dumb, you don't know anything, all that stuff. So once again, I grew up in that. I literally grew up in that. You couldn't do anything right. Okay, you literally couldn't do anything right. It's impossible. You're too stupid. Stupid dumb. You know, like I mentioned, one or two podcasts. You know, like there was a priest, Father Butler he was like, he used to go to the church was on the other side of the road out in the country, and the school was there, and Ivan, my oldest brother, and a bunch of the buddies, you know, he was 6 to 8 years older than me, and the priest came down and he was fighting with them all, like fist fighting with the boys, the older boys. Like, how do you get divinity in that? How do you get divinity? It's like crazy. And so, and then it's like getting out of that and listening to. I remember once I went on a self-directed retreat. Went on a self-directed retreat over, and for 3 days, 4 days actually. And this retreat center was right on the ocean. Like, there was rocks, waves coming in, and all that. And it was islands, soothing, gentle. You know, like, it was like different. Ego with its critical, harsh, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're good, you can't right. Yeah, it's just like, wow. And divinity, spirit, mind, and like gentleness to it. Gentle. Yes. And the higher you go on your vibration, the more that happens. Yeah, it is. So, on that conscious scale, once again, there's all of those heavy, dark, dysfunctional energies. That's all ego. That's full of ego energy. And up at the enlightenment, everything is colorful, and bright, and light, and airy, and exciting, and whispery, and yeah, that's our divinity. So, which would you rather listen to? Would you like to listen to you being this, knowing that you're this divine being? Imagine that. Listen to the whispers. You're listening to the whispers. Listening to the whispers of your divinity. It doesn't have this critical, harsh, ripping, tearing apart. It doesn't have any of that stuff. It doesn't have any. We're meant to be fluid, flowing. But for me now, once again, based on my growing up, everything was bad, needed to be punished, don't deserve good things. And it just never stopped. Didn't. Yeah. And so when I went on that retreat over on Vancouver Island, it's like sudden, it's like the whispers. I could hear the divinity, whispering, saying things that were so in alignment, in tune with the, I put it, it's like just light. And so it was pretty amazing to hear that. Yeah, I used to go, well, actually, I was in Calgary and I moved back to Prince Edward Island for 15 years. And so I created an energy around my divinity. It was more religious based at that time, and it wasn't until I was able to clean that all up, and all those rules and regulations and having to do it right, and yeah, that kind of thing. Once again, the school was all nuns that were teaching, and then the priest, and like it was like religious, and the Stations of the Cross, and the like. It was pretty rigid, and getting away from that, and finding my own place, like going back. I remember when I went back to PI, and I went back. A neighbor said, "Don, if you're interested," like I had a wood stove. I bought a 5-bedroom, 3-story home on 7 acres of land overlooking the Charlottetown capital PEI. And so I bought an airtight wood stove. And so my neighbor said, "Oh, Don, you can have that. You can go cut your wood in my forest there. Go ahead." And so I did. And I remember so vividly the quietness and the stillness, even though I was working, working every day on getting this wood ready for the winter. Yeah, because it took a lot of heat for an old 5-bedroom, 75-year-old 5-bedroom farmhouse. Yeah. And crazy, it's still standing. That was 20 years ago. And so in that forest, I could just, like, the birds the birds and everything. It was like everything was speaking to me. Everything was speaking to me in quiet, in silence. And that rush of running and ripping and tearing and all of those, it just didn't fit. It just didn't. What I found was like that voice got so much more quiet. Like I wasn't ripping myself apart. I wasn't hurting myself. That was all that low self-esteem energy. Low self-esteem. That was me, down in the lower vibrations. Down in those lower vibrations in that chart. You look at the guilt and the shame, and those are pretty low. And that's where I was. And then, I just started listening to that the quietness, and just shut out that ego energy. That's what I grew up in. That was it. So how do you tap? And it's like, you're no good, you can't do anything right. Or go the other way. It's like, oh, you're so beautiful. You're so much more handsome than everybody else. You're so, and that's the ego as well. That's the ego as well. The flip side of the negativity is like, you're everybody's gonna love you and la 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 la. Yeah. So what it is that externally referenced identity. And this isn't an externally referenced identity. It's a divineness, a divine energy that we have inside. Yes, we, as in you and I and everyone on the planet, have that divine energy. Yeah. We don't have to go to a church. We don't have to say the rosary. We don't have to do any of those things. Access it. It's as simple as, I'm going to ask you a question. You tell me if you know the answer. You ready? What color are your eyes? Is there anybody here listening that don't know the color of your eyes? I should hardly think so. Okay? So it's that simple, actually. It's that simple. Your divinity is like the color of your eyes. That's who you are. I don't mean your eyes, but it's that simple. It's like, oh, my divinity is this divine being. Don't have to go to church. I don't have to go to confession. I don't have to go to communion today to receive it. None of that. None of that. Oh, what's it really look like? What's it really sound like? One common denominator that's happening, the whole theme, is they keep coming back saying how, especially people in malls, shopping malls, and whatever. I mentioned this one before because it's definitely worth mentioning. It's crazy. I have a couple of pink suits, and I was in Dubai. Now they have a Dubai mall there, and it's the biggest mall in the world. Yeah, the biggest mall in the world. All I know is that's what it is. Okay. I walked around with my pink suit on. Well, there was a minimum 1,500 people somehow connected with one way or the other. One way or the other. Stopped me, asked me who I was, or just looked at me and smiled, or thumbs up, or like those kind of things. I got pictures of like surrounded by 8 women in a store, like just getting their picture taken with. They didn't know it. They were seeing the divine light. They were seeing the divinity. all had a divinity. We all have it. And it doesn't matter what nationality you are. It doesn't. And we're here, bring it out. See it. See it. Describe it and feel it. Walk around in it. That's our divinity. Yeah, that's our divinity. And the higher we are, the lighter it is and the brighter it is. The lower we are, the more heavy it is, the more dense it is, more dark it is, all of those kind of things. And if you look at the consciousness chart again, you'll see the words that describe the different levels of consciousness. Where are you? Where are you on that chart? And the whole idea is to be 700 and above. That's it. 700 and above. Yeah. And that is our ultimate goal here. To have 1,000. Well, there's different levels, and we will post that about the numbers. But it's like we raise the level of consciousness of humanity by each of us having our own raised consciousness. Okay, like that. That's it. We raise ours. The Wills raises his. The Nina's raises hers. The Jamie raises his. We all raise our consciousness, buddy. It raises everybody. And war stop. Yeah, war stop. War stop. As an example. And yeah, and even like storms. Like now, I I usually have some kind of an idea of what I'm going to say, but the divinity decides, not me. And I was just told to share this. I'm going to share something. So I used to play around with the weather. And I was staying up in the wilderness up in the Pacific Northwest. My dear friend Nikki, she had a little 16-foot runabout boat with a windshield this high. And one day, we were, she used to do tour guides for people on their big yachts and whatever. She would take them on her little runabout and take them everywhere and whatever. And so anyway, this one time, this person said, "Yeah, come down. We're down this trail, and I got what she was going to give her, whatever." Anyway, so she had this 16-foot runabout with a windshield this high, and we came around the corner to go down this inlet where this waterfall was. And she, as we came around the corner, what happened was, you could see over in the distance where we were going to go down this channel. It was literally a wall of rain. Literally a wall of rain. Like as solid as this wall behind us here. Straight up, as high as you could see. Okay? And when we came around the corner and Nikki saw this, oh my God, we're going to get drenched. Don't have any rain gear. At that time, it was about, 1,000 feet away. And she kept going and figuring out, okay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? You know what, Nikki? Don't you worry about it. I got it covered. What do you mean you got it covered? Don't you worry about it. I got it covered. By this time, this wall of rain. Now, I'm talking about like that wall behind us. Solid wall just coming like this. Okay? And so we had stopped. Then what happened was, once again, she just checked to see if she did happen to have some rain gear, which she didn't. I said, okay, Nikki, I got it. Now, by this time, it was 10 feet away. 10 feet away. Okay? This solid wall of rain with us with this little 16-foot runabout boat. Okay, I went like this. Put my hand up. Instantly, wall of rain stopped. The wall, that solid wall of rain, as high as you could see, stopped. Stopped. Now, I'll tell you a lot more of those weather stories at another time, but that one came to me. And here it is. All of a sudden, it stopped. Within 3 minutes, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. 3 minutes. Gone. Now, I'm saying that for you to know how powerful you are. Don't know. So, this power we're meant to use it good for the planet, for people. That's what it's power. Now, I have changed the weather, one form or another, summer or winter, rain, like whatever. 68 times. Hurricanes, yep, dropped them. Dropped the hurricane from a 5.2 to 2. Yeah. So, I'm telling you, we are powerful. I'm telling you, we have been given that power. I'm telling you, listen to the ego. You're not going to have that happen. It's going to go chatter, 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 and tell you negative you are and how you don't deserve this. And who are you to think you could do this? Change the weather or whatever. When in actuality, there's no quiet inside. We listen to our divinity. And all of a sudden, you are given messages. You are given messages. Alignment. Divine nature. Powerful. Seriously. How are we? I want you to think about it. But not too long. Just know that, hey, whatever that guy was talking about, maybe I can do that. I remember what that number is. I think there's about 35, somewhere in that vicinity, 35 people that have taken my process that have changed the weather to one degree or another. Huh. That didn't have a clue in the world that they could do that before they met me. So, powerful. How powerful. I'm saying we're here, stand in that, not for harm, not for harm in it, but for good. Yeah. Like I said, I'll do a whole weather one days. Okay. Tell you some of those 68 stories. Yeah, because they're pretty, pretty profound. I mean, when I did that, started them, yeah, happened. Yeah. So how powerful are you? Do you do? I'm saying how you access that power is to raise your consciousness. Higher you raise your to enlightenment, more you access power you have. To do that is to shift those that calibration chart, conscious chart. You take yourself from 50 shame to 100, 200, 300, 400 to 500. Now, you're taught, and most people don't even know there is a chart. There is a chart. And the whole idea is to raise humanity's consciousness to above 200, which is called enlightenment, 210. It's all by Dr. David Hawkins. Yeah. Dr. David Hawkins. Got a number of books. Yeah. So, how powerful are you? I'm asking you. Huh. How would you like to step into that? You do it. First of all, first thing you do is know that you're not this terrible, bad, need to be punished, ripping apart, toxic. At the very, very most, it's behaviors you did, not who you behaviors you did when you didn't know the difference, when you were in a low vibration. So what's the consciousness chart? Well, we'll do that one, right? But just basically, it's measuring your level of consciousness. Your level of consciousness. It goes from 50 to 1,000. 50 to 1,000. Now, there's three beings that were at 1,000. Jesus, they were at 1,000. Okay? So when you get that number, that's when all humanities, I mean, they start shifting well before that. You don't go just straight up in a half an hour or 10 minutes. Yeah, that is like, come back to, how can I tell the difference? Ego energy and first of all, the divinity energy, a warm heart energy. So gentle. Spirit. These are for just the other day, Jamie and I back and forth. Minor. So spot on. That's a time. Conscious. Go. But that's what we're doing. raising our consciousness, raising it from the 210 that humanity as a whole is at, 210. Like seriously, 210 out of 1,000. Out of 1,000. So every one of you listening, everyone can contribute to raising humanity's consciousness by raising your vibration. And you don't listen to the bullshit that's been told to you over and over. Promise created when you were little, carried them through, and listen to stories not true at all. Okay, so like I already shared a couple of them. You know, this Sister James Marie, the school, all nuns at the time, and she just here I am, grade 4, grade 4. Her first day, and we're making a line to get, you know, here to here. And I took off, went to that end, thinking it was the end of the line. Well, it was the start of the line. She said, Smith, you're too stupid. You're going to be there. You are going to be not able to hold that. Get back here where you belong at the other end, the low end of this scale, this lineup. That's what this wonderful Sister James Marie. Okay? That's that shame. Look at the chart for guilt and shame. That's what I'm talking about. This ingrainedness, these traumas that occurred. We can incur them. We can incur them in the womb, and many are in the womb. And I will talk about that one again at another. Okay? So we were the Smiths, were the low end of the totem pole in the church school. We're both connected. Yeah. When Father Butler, when I was an altar boy, and he was teaching me, he just said, "Don, you're too. I'll give you that." That's the shame. We carry that around, especially when we supposedly idolize these priests and nuns, whatever, that are supposed to be so holy. Now their times have changed. That's what it was. I was there, growing up in that. So, how do you tell the difference between you're too stupid to? Sad part was, I believe. That was the sad part. Okay. And found a wonderful nun, grade 8, Sister Helen. She was so kind, so gentle, so loving, so supportive. And I just took off. All of a sudden, all my marks just went from 20s and 30s and 40s to 70s and 80s. Even made 100. Like, that's because of the way I was raised and taught was a shame-based system. Shame is just angelic energy. Really are. It's very exciting. Very, very exciting. We have, the two different languages, and listen to that dialogue. What's it sound like? What's it sound like? Messages. I work with a client. I did a follow up. He had taken the process and gave me a little information. What it was, criticizing himself because he couldn't hold it the way he expected to hold after having such a gigantic transformation of life. And I said, well, what's that internal dialogue? What's it sound like? Well, it's critical. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah. Now, let's go back. Now, this is this person. Let's go back to when we were finished. First day. First day. You being in your. You remember what it sounded like. It's like. Guilt. No shame. Isn't that amazing? Power. People. All raised people. I'm telling you, we're here to be this divine energy. Be this divine energy in this level of consciousness called enlightenment. Yes, 700 to 1,000. Now, I'm telling you that is pretty well told that it's impossible. Yeah, no. Nope. Not impossible at all. I'm talking about taking people 2 hours. 2 hours. From 200 to 700. Okay? They're talking about a lifetime. Talking 2 hours. How's that work? Well, first of all, it's kind of like me changing the weather. Didn't know. I used to go golfing. Then it started to rain. Wait till I'm finished. Instantly, golf game. There, you can. By the time I got to the car. Do you know how powerful you are? Do you? I don't think you. I'm challenging. So the first thing you need, listen to the 2 sounds. One of that self-critical, harsh, ripping you apart, the guilt and shame, not good enough. Like that one. That one. The quiet. Really encouraging. They're yeah. They're that different. And your job is to separate them out. Listen to you. Our love says, universe The universe needs you. Needs you to be in your light. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. You recognize in your be a contributor of stopping her, stopping for. Yeah. Oh, is that possible? Yes, it is. Damn right it is. Damn right it is. You're that. You're not going to get it. That negative, chirpy, not good enough, not worthy, not deserving. La la la. None of that. Absolutely none of that. That's the ego. It's going to try to control you and it's going to try to keep you telling you. Okay? Because it is, we are, every single one is powerful. Just that some are using it against you. Like, seriously. I worked in the prison system, worked with serial rapists, armed robbers, and murderers. Yes. I worked in addictions for 8 years. Like, I know about the shame, the guilt and shame energies. Not only for me, but the ones that I would see on a daily basis. Ones I would see on a daily basis. It's crazy. That was when I was on Rhode Island, and one day my sister, who was my assistant at the time, called me one. Said, "You remember Jeff?" I actually, well, on, you know his track record. He was never able to stay out of jail longer than well, he hasn't been. He has not been to jail since the last time you were. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So, you know what? We are all very powerful. We're either going to use the power to destroy, power to up. We're here to help. We are here. See our magnificence. Are here to see our magnificence. It just keeps growing. Very exciting. I mean, very, very, very exciting. And there's people that come like, I can't remember. I think it's like something like 35 or 45 people that, as a result of Jamie and I talking to them, changed the weather. Yeah, they didn't know they could change the weather. They do now. Yeah. Not amazing. So, the key about this is, how can you tell the difference between your negative beliefs and your positive beliefs, and you listen to the language? And you will find that you are very, very heavy and dark. You're criticizing and judging. That not good enough toxic energy. Being in your divinity is light and airy and fluffy, divine. So I encourage you to check this out. Way to measure how to find out how to stand in your power, change anything, including a hurricane. Have yourself